If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640, it is The Conway Show. Oh, yes. Ding dong with you. Man, what a big story the CEO of the insurance company has become. God almighty, this thing blew up. And I think for a lot of reasons. I think there are a lot of reasons it has a lot of legs here. First of all, where it happened. This guy, Brian Thompson, big CEO of one of these huge insurance companies, and gunned down in the streets of New York. And I think why it's a big story is because of where it happened. This guy could have shot him in Minnesota, where he lives, or, and any one of these small cities he goes into, but he did it on the streets of New York. And I think that is a really bold move. I think that's, you're not going to catch me. I can do what I want. They got a lot of information on this guy who gunned him down. A lot of information. And so it's a story that just doesn't stop. I mean, for instance, if you look at, I'll just open up, I'll open up two news sources that I use. New York Post. You open up and you see the New York Post, and the top story, the top story, then 2 days later, with everything going on in this world, suspect seen casually strolling through New York City subway station 30 minutes before executing United Healthcare's CEO. And there's a new video. And then the second story on New York Post, United Healthcare CEO suspected gunman. Looks like these A-list celebrities, according to the internet. And there's a third story. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's killer may have used a modern version of a rare World War II spy gun in brutal murder. There's a fourth story. This is the biggest, one of the biggest newspapers in New York and one of the bigger news sources in the United States and around the world. There's a fourth story. Manhunt for United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's killer enters second day. Here's what major clues investigators are looking at. There's a fifth story. Healthcare executives commonly face threats, say security expert, who wonders why United Healthcare CEO was alone on the streets of New York. Okay, there's 5 stories. Nope. Right under the advertisement, a 6th story. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's suspect shooter used a fake New Jersey ID to check into a hostel, according to sources. There's a 7th. Message on the bullets, fired by healthcare CEO assassin, bears eerie link to a book condemning insurance companies. That's the 7th story. This is just one news source. 7 stories. There's an 8th. Grinning suspect in United Healthcare CEO murder, New York City execution, unmasked in new pictures. There are 8 stories. 8 stories on this guy. And this shooting is not going away. This is the talk of the town. Everybody's talking about it. If you missed any of it, we'll take you through a brief timeline here of this crazy story. And again, this is a wild story happening on the streets of New York City, where this guy who's making $10 million a year married his college sweetheart And we subsequently have learned that marriage is not going well. He had moved out and bought a house about a mile away, and they don't live together. So when you hear comments from the wife, yes, legally she's still his wife, but they don't live together. So there's another angle that the cops are looking at. Is this some kind of revenge? Is this some kind of, is there a third person? Is there a jealousy thing going on between the husband and wife and, that whole angle? And so there's a lot to get to. But here's the timeline if you missed any part of that story. It's a crazy story. Hey, Bella, can you turn that computer on for me? Thank you, babe.
Several new developments today, and actually just in the last couple of minutes, we have learned that a person of interest is believed to have stayed here at this hostel. Now, we spoke to people at the hostel. You are required to show an ID to check in. Well, we've just learned from sources that person of interest used a fake ID and a fake name to possibly check in here, leaving every guest here on edge.
Police released new images of a person of interest connected to Wednesday's fatal shooting of 50-year-old United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside the Hilton Midtown. Police sources say these new surveillance images were taken before the shooting, obtained from a hostel on West 103rd Street, where detectives interviewed staff and guests.
I don't even know they have hostels anymore. Doesn't that seem like something out of the 1970s that in Europe you'd go from one hostel to another? Crozier, you been to a hostel? You been to stay one of these joints?
I have not. My daughter was in one just about 2 months ago.
In Europe?
No, in San Francisco.
Wow. They still have in San Francisco,
They are apparently really huge, especially maybe with this younger generation. She told me she went up there and she was fine. And the other daughter, Sam, she went to Europe and she actually knows people. They stay in the hostels all the time. Like you say, it's still a huge thing in Europe. And San Francisco asked Sid all about it. She says it was so much better than you would expect. You do get your own room. You share a bathroom, but you get your own room and you get a sink and all that stuff in there.
Sounds like prison.
The room locks. They're basically like bunk beds. Yeah, I mean, what's a prison? It's a room that you share a bathroom. Yeah. So,
okay, all right.
But it was like super cheap, like $10-$20 or something like that, and you do have your own privacy, a room that locks.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the population, everybody that was there, they were all generally around her age or their age,
oh, nice.
And it was a very sort of good communal aspect to it.
Yeah, I like that communal living. When I lived in a dorm at Bowling Green State University, I loved living in a dorm with a bunch of other idiots like me. It was great. It was really a cool deal.
They clean it up. It's really nice.
It's great. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it.
They just asked me questions like, did you see anyone? What was it? And did you notice?
By the way, if you think this is a big story in L.A., this is the talk of the town in New York City. Everybody is talking about this. Like if this happened in the streets of Burbank or, somewhere in the San Fernando Valley or Century City or Beverly Hills or Santa Monica, everybody out here be talking about it. Everybody lives within 3 or 4 miles of where this happened. If you live in New York, you live within 4, maybe 5 miles of where this shooting happened. It's a big local issue in New York. And anytime there's a big story in New York, the people in New York think that New York is the center of the universe. And I guess in a lot of ways it is. And they get this story out. It's out on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. It's on, the Daily News, LA Times, New York Times. It's everywhere.
I saw 2 more and like a guy dressed like a detective, probably a detective. Then I went to my room on the 4th floor. I went to brush my teeth. When I got to the corner that goes to the bathroom, there was like another detective that he was like, no, you can't go past here.
Matthew Toronto, a guest from Brazil, said police were standing outside this door on the 4th floor.
By the way, I have a policy. I have a theory in life. Let me back up here.
On the 4th floor, I went to brush my teeth.
Okay. Anytime somebody says, with the exception of Jay Leno, I'll give him a pass. Anytime somebody says, I never take any pills, all they do is pills. When anyone says, I never drink, all they do is drink. When somebody says, I always work out, they never work out. People are the exact opposite of what they always say. So whenever somebody says this,
I went to brush my teeth.
I went to brush my teeth. He's never brushed his teeth. People don't talk like that. I went to brush my teeth.
I went to brush my teeth.
When's the last time you said that? I went to brush my teeth. Don't you just brush them and shut up?
There was like another detective that he was like, no, you can't go past here.
Matthew Toronto, a guest from Brazil, said police.
God, it sounds like a mob name. Like you call up a guy and, hey, get Matthew Toronto to knock this guy off.
Matthew Toronto, a guest from Brazil, said police were standing outside this door on the 4th floor. This visitor from Denmark said people he met stayed in that shared room.
Wow.
They were pretty shocked because this who could be pretty bad.
The hostel's website says upon check-in, photo identification and a credit card is required, adding residents of New York City cannot be accommodated at this property. Law enforcement sources say shell casings found at the shooting.
Norm Macdonald, speaking of identification, Norm Macdonald had a great line. He said, ID is short for identification. So I is short for I, and then D is short for dentification. Which one got it easy? Which one got the easier one?
Law enforcement sources say shell casings found at the shooting scene had words including deny and delay written on them.
Oh, boy. That is an old book written about how insurance companies deny claims.
Police say they're investigating the messages as possible grudges against the insurance company and are reviewing disputes involving United Healthcare and its CEO. Sources say a search warrant was executed at Thompson's hotel room, but nothing has advanced the motive or the investigation.
This is a nationwide search. This is not something that may be just germane towards New York City. This may be something that touches other parts of the country. Listen, this may come back to some type of potential problems or personal beef with Mr. Thompson that happened in Minnesota.
That's right. That could be it. All right, we're gonna cover this story all night long. We've got other news to do as well, but this is a major story, and throughout the night, as these details come in, we are going to bring them to you live. But when we come back, we have a lot of Dodger news going on. This is the Dodger town. We work at the next door to the Dodger station, and we're fortunate to have one of the great broadcasters come in and talk about the Dodgers. So we're going to do that next. One of the great broadcasters of the LA Dodgers, not Vince Scully, but somebody very close to that.
You're listening to Tim Conway.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Junior on demand from KFI AM 640.
But right now, time to talk Dodgers with David Vassegh. Ding dong with you, buddy.
Ding dong, Conway. I'm here to play in the sandbox, not talk about the real world.
That's great. That's great. I'm with you. All right, so we got a lot of developments with the LA Dodgers. We got this guy named David or Peter Snail, right?
Close. Blake Snail.
Blake Snail is also on the team. I love that guy.
A.K.A. Snailzilla.
Oh, nice. Okay. What's his background? You've known him for a while.
I've known him since 2021. We got introduced by Dodger beat writer Juan Toribio, who covered Blake Snail when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays.
All right.
He introduced me to Snell, and ever since that day in 2021, Snailzilla has needed David Vassegh in his life.
Good.
We've gone to Korean barbecue in Alhambra together when he's coming to town. So he's a guy that is definitely misperceived because he has red marks under both eyes.
Like he drinks a lot.
Yeah, looks like he has not gotten much sleep, which to a certain extent.
Why do you keep pointing at me? What's wrong with you?
Well, I mean, you kind of resemble the pink cheeks of Snailzilla.
Yeah, but I didn't get it from pitching. I got him from drinking.
Well, he doesn't drink. All he drinks is Shirley Temples.
Wow.
He does not drink alcohol, and he doesn't smoke marijuana like everybody else thinks he does. He does talk.
How old is he?
He's 32. Just turned 32 yesterday.
Is it tough for a 32-year-old single man in L.A. to order himself a Shirley Temple?
It is not. It's actually endearing.
All right.
You know, he does have a fiance.
Okay.
He does want to live in California. He is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner and wants his locker next to future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, good.
He actually made that request during his meeting with the Dodgers.
Really?
Yeah, if he signed with the Dodgers, he wanted his locker next to Kershaw because he looks up to him.
Okay, he's a lefty.
Lefty.
Lefties are always odd.
Yes.
Going back to Fernando, they're just a little quirky.
Right, and he is. I mean, he plays video games. He has a video game channel on Twitch, and he's a guy that drinks Shirley Temples and loves 2 cherries in it.
What's his pitch?
Changeup, fastball are his 2 best pitches.
Right.
And the Dodgers believe even at 32, his best years are ahead of him because of that. He hasn't had a lot of arm issues either.
All right, Blake Snail, what number is he going to be?
Number 7.
Oh, okay.
Last worn by
Steve
Julio.
Yeager?
No. Julio Urias.
Was Yeager 7?
He was.
Yeah, dig dong.
That was back in 1984.
That's right. Maybe before that.
Feels like yesterday, right, Conway?
Buddy, I remember Steve Yeager getting hit in the throat with that broken bat like it was yesterday.
And he was the pioneer for that chin guard that now dangles beneath catchers.
That's right.
The catcher's mask.
That's right.
Because of that.
All right, so Freddie Freeman surgery.
World Series hero,
right?
Freddie Freeman, who had a Kirk Gibson-like World Series, banged up with a bad right ankle.
Grand slam.
A torn rib muscle that we found out after. Walk-off grand slam in game 1. Today had right ankle surgery to clean up whatever was going on in that right ankle, but will be ready for spring training.
Look, I would say I know about 5% of what you do when it comes to baseball. And you know a lot, and you know not to pitch Freddie Freeman inside. Why would they do that? Was that a mistake pitch?
Huge mistake pitch. And Freddie's a really smart player. He studied the way that pitcher, Nestor Cortez, pitched Ohtani.
Oh, okay.
And he was expecting him to, throw him a pitch that was an off-speed pitch instead of that fastball, and he was ready for it. And by the way, Nestor Cortez, that pitcher that threw the pitch that turned into the walk-off grand slam, hadn't pitched for 38 days.
Oh, wow.
That's not Phi Beta Kappa right there,
That's
Conway.
Your first pitch after 38 days.
In the World Series, bases loaded, Freddie Freeman.
I love watching Cortez's face when he looks up and he looks to see where it went. He knew it was gone.
Oh, without a doubt.
The sound of the bat.
Just like Dennis Eckersley knew it when Kirk Gibson hit his home run.
Do you want to promote your show?
Sure. Actually, I'm going to be in Dallas starting Sunday for baseball's winter meetings. That's where the annual baseball convention where player agents, GMs, managers are under one roof for 3 days. So I'll be out there.
Can you call us?
I will.
Oh, cool.
I might call you from Clayton Kershaw's backyard.
That's great.
I'm going to be there Tuesday night with Kershaw.
All right.
He's invited me over to the Palace.
Am I on the moon, or does Max Muncy have a place in Texas?
He does.
And that's where the Freddie Freeman dance started.
That started here in LA.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. After
then there's a phony story out there.
Well, I mean, they had some, they have a foundation celebration every year.
Oh, I see.
And I believe it was Usher performing, and Freddie started that dance, and then they brought it back to the backyard of the Muncies here in LA during the season.
That's great.
But Muncy went to Baylor University.
Yes, I saw him. He was a big stud at Baylor.
Sure.
And he goes back, man. The team flocks him. Everybody wants to talk to him and see what's going on, man.
Look at you, Conway. You're always watching everything Muncy does.
I'm a big Muncy fan, and I know that every time in the post-game interviews, he always looks for you and gives you the first interview.
Thank you.
That's
you
cool
sent
deal.
me that video.
That's right.
I love it. You're like my dad.
I'm into it, buddy. What are you on today at all on KLAC?
I am not on today.
Okay.
But we will have Dodger talk for you next week from the winter meetings.
All right, we'd love to talk to you at the winter meetings.
I'd love to talk to you.
Buddy, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Giant stud.
Ding dong.
You're listening to...
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
We're going to have Lucy Jones on in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to give you all the background. So we'll have all the background in us when the premier information source of earthquakes in my life has been Dr. Lucy Jones. Since I was in high school up until today, she has calmed my nerves dozens of times. She's come on with us before. And she has saved a lot of lives. People on the edge, they hate earthquakes, like Deborah Mark. One of the things she hates in life is earthquakes and steak. So, ding dong with both of those. But here's the latest on the earthquake. Then we'll talk to Lucy Jones, Dr. Lucy Jones. But this earthquake, huge up in Northern California. And this is not good. I think this is a pre-shock to the big one. I hate to say that, but I think everyone feels it. Nobody's saying it, though. You don't want to say it. You don't want to jinx it. But I think we all know it.
Governor Gavin Newsom announced a state of emergency declaration while one California state senator said there were reports of homes that came off their foundations in addition to thousands of people who were without power in Humboldt County. Aerial images show a line of vehicles in Pacifica near San Francisco as people drove up to higher ground following a 7.0 magnitude quake and tsunami warning along the Northern California coast.
We evacuated up to the top of the mountain up there on Roberts Road where it like half the Pacifica was there.
Governor Gavin Newsom was at the southern border with Mexico where he was briefed and announced a state of emergency declaration shortly after the tsunami alert was lifted.
We're concerned about damage, particularly in the northern part of the state in Del Norte and Mendocino and Humboldt County as a consequence of that.
The quake hit offshore near what's known as the Mendocino Triple Junction, where 3 faults, including the San Andreas meet.
Uh-oh. You hear that?
Including the San Andreas meet.
Anytime you hear San Andreas, you start to shiver.
San Andreas.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
San Andreas meet. The U.S. Geological Survey says the direction the plates move in impact the likelihood of a tsunami.
Because of this strong motion, there was initially concern about tsunamis. But it's very likely that most of the motion was actually horizontal rather than vertical, which is what tends to cause tsunamis caused by earthquakes.
We caught a break this time, but what about next time?
Under the sea.
Dad, there's an earthquake happening. Still, residents who could feel the quake were shaken up. There were dozens of aftershocks that experts say could last for days or weeks.
We really took this one serious. We didn't know what was going to come from it, but thankful everything's going to be all right.
Yes.
Dad.
What?
There's an earthquake happening.
Oh, no. Run and cover then, young lady.
Dad.
What?
There's an earthquake happening.
Why are you telling me? Get under the desk.
We understand President Joe Biden has also been briefed on this.
Soph would just tell you, okay,
Yeah.
I'll be down in a minute.
Yeah, I'll throw something on. I'll meet you downstairs.
Dad, there's an earthquake happening.
All right.
We understand President Joe Biden has also been briefed on this quake. Geological experts say that while it's far less frequent, it is possible that this quake could be a foreshock. And for some additional context, the largest earthquake in this area in the last century was a 7.4 in 1922.
All right. But we get a lot of earthquakes, a lot of them. We average a lot more than you think. Hundreds of them every day.
California experiences an average of 2 to 3 earthquakes each year that are large enough to cause damage to structures. In the past 30 years, there have been several notable earthquakes. On January 17th, 1994.
Anybody remember that date?
On January 17th, 1994.
That's the Northridge quake. Everyone, if you were here, you'll remember that day. Remember exactly what you're doing and most of what happened after that earthquake. It was long. And it was very scary.
January 17th, 1994, a 6.7 quake hit Northridge, killing 57 people and causing an estimated $90 billion in today's dollars in damages. In October 1999, a 7.1 earthquake struck near Ludlow. In January 2010, a 6.5 quake hit offshore, again near Ferndale. And you may remember the Ridgecrest Trona quake in 2019 that damaged at least 100 homes. Again, and then today's quake, which is again registering at 7.0, hitting offshore near Ferndale. The full extent of damage is still being assessed.
Okay, then they talk about the tsunami. Before we get to Dr. Lucy Jones, the tsunami and the warning.
Magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck off the west coast this afternoon. A tsunami warning that stretched across both California and Oregon was issued, but that expired about 45 minutes ago. The quake was felt as far south as San Francisco, where residents reported feeling a rolling motion. And new video video shows the impact to a pool in the Eureka area. Officials estimate more than 1 million people live close enough to the epicenter to have felt the shaking, and several aftershocks have also been reported. More than 5 million people in California were put under a tsunami warning shortly after the earthquake struck.
Okay. Now, we're all idiots. The earth is warning us that we're about to get whacked. And what do? We all stay. We all still pay our mortgage. We still go to school. We go to the mall. We go to work. We come home. We sleep. We eat. We jog. We work out. We do everything we normally do. And the earth is telling us we're coming. We're coming. There's a big one coming. And some of us have earthquake kits. We bought one recently. I put one together recently, so I know where that is. But other than that, I'm not really prepared for the big one. I don't think we ever are. And Dr. Lucy Jones said what will really affect a lot of people is 6 months after the earthquake, the big one, there's going to be very little water for people to drink, to bathe in, to clean, to wash anything, to wash your clothes, to shower. Very little water is going to be available. So please go get a couple, at least, 4, 5, 6, 10 gallons of water. Put it in the garage so you're okay for a while. Water will last, quite some time, especially if you're bathing in it. I imagine years if you get distilled water. Get some water, put it in your garage. You'll thank me later.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. On Demand from KFI AM 640.
There was a 7.0 earthquake off the northern shore of California, and nobody knows more about earthquakes than Dr. Lucy Jones. And she's with us. Doctor, how are you?
I'm okay. Been a busy day.
Very busy for you. I heard you before. You make your rounds, and you soothe a lot of nerves. Is this a foreshock?
We don't have any way of recognizing that. Every earthquake has about the same chance. The fact that we've gone 6 hours without anything bigger suggests that it's not. Mostly they happen within the first day.
Did this relieve some pressure on the San Andreas Fault?
No.
Oh, I need a different answer.
We want a pattern that tells us that it's either coming or we know that it's not coming. And every time we just have to say, every earthquake has about a 5% chance of being followed by something bigger. And we just have to wait and find out.
What's the largest on the Richter scale? I know you're familiar with that. What's the largest number that we can expect for the San Andreas? Can it reach a 9.8?
Oh, no. The San Andreas by itself is probably an absolute maximum like 8.2, 8.3. And, being an 8.2 instead of a 7.2, it releases 32 times more energy. But if you're right on top of that 7.2, you're still getting most of the shaking. Right?
Okay.
So what's different about the biggest earthquakes is they affect a much larger area. And it's the length of the fault that produces it. If you go north of the San Andreas, north from where this earthquake happened, you have the Cascadia subduction zone, which is potentially could give us a magnitude 9. We're pretty sure it did it back in 1700. That's off of Oregon and Washington rather than here in California, and it's offshore. So the strongest shaking where people are is larger in a 7.9 in Southern California than it is on the 9.0 in Northern California.
What was the 1910? What was the 1910 earthquake in San Francisco? How big was that?
There wasn't one, so at 1906.
Oh, 1906. I'm sorry.
7.8.
Oh, 7.8. That's a big one.
Yes. Yes, it was quite large. The fault was 440 kilometers long, so about 250 miles. Ran from Cape Mendocino south to San Juan Bautista, basically around Gilroy.
Was that felt in L.A.?
Yes, it does appear to have been.
Oh, man.
And it triggered, there was an aftershock to it. There was a magnitude 5 in Santa Monica Bay and a magnitude 6 in Imperial County.
Wow.
What happened the day of that earthquake. Yeah.
Dr. Lucy Jones is with us. Is L.A. moving towards San Francisco or is San Francisco moving towards L.A.?
Yes. It's all relative. You have to say which one.
Okay.
It depends on which one you hold down. But we are moving towards each other. How about that?
So in a couple 100,000 years, we'll be right next to each other.
It's going to take about 5 million.
5 million. Yeah. Okay. So we should stop working on the speed train. We don't need it in 5 million years.
Exactly.
Yes. You've heard this over the years, over your career, that dogs and cats and birds and animals have a sixth sense that an earthquake is coming. Do you believe that?
What we do have is the human need to make patterns. Okay. And so we're going to hunt for whatever pattern we can find. Whenever we've been able to control it and actually test, we never see any reaction. Okay. But the one thing we do have, right, so the earthquake produces a couple of different types of waves. The one that travels faster is a sound wave, and it's not as big as the second wave, which is a shear wave that travels more slowly. So if you're a little distance away from the earthquake, you might not feel the P wave, the first wave, because it's died off and it's just not so sensitive, but you do feel the second one. And so if the animals respond to the first one and you don't notice it till the second one, and the time between them will depend on how far away you are. It's just like thunder and lightning.
Okay.
But it's 5 miles, it's 5 seconds per mile on thunder and lightning. It's 5 miles per second on earthquakes, the PNS waves. So
that's interesting.
So if it's 10 seconds apart, that means that you're 50 miles away. If it's 2 seconds apart, you're 10 miles away.
Oh, good. Okay. That makes sense, though. The dogs can sense the first wave.
Right, exactly. We have a great family story of my parents' Doberman during the San Fernando earthquake. Pretty clearly, and we lived in Westchester, so we were quite a far away from the event, and she suddenly jumped up and started running for my parents' bedroom. Wow. And the earthquake hit. Well, the S wave came through while she was still in the hallway and got thrown up against the side of the hallway and right at the door to their bedroom. And she took a huge flying leap and jumped up onto their waterbed.
Wow.
As the earthquake came on through and landed on top of our cat. I think a memorable time for my parents.
I think the biggest sort of takeaway from that story is your parents still had a waterbed.
It was 1971. It was
Okay. Speaking of water, we're going to have a water problem after the big one.
We absolutely will. Water pipes break in earthquakes.
But water pipes break in L.A. 2 or 3 times a day anyway.
Yes, right. And now imagine you've made it much worse. And think about all the water breaks that have been found in the San Fernando Valley in the 1990s and 2000s. Yep. They actually think that some of them were small cracks that were formed in the earthquake, and then it took time for the water to seep out and undermine the ground underneath, and then the pipes failed. So we do see failing pipes for 10, 20 years after big earthquakes, which are the small breaks that continue on. And when we modeled it for the San Andreas, we ended up estimating it was going to take 6 months to get water back into all the houses after that earthquake because it affects such a large area.
Sure.
That extra long fault means so many more people exposed to this. And it actually comes out being the single biggest source of financial loss in the earthquake. There's all the direct losses from it, the water damage, the businesses that can't reopen because because there's no water coming in the pipes, and the inability to fight fires causing more destruction.
Oh my God! So in your
vulnerability of the water,
in your earthquake kit, you should have at least a 2, 3, 4 week supply of water.
Whatever you can have, however much you've been storing, why don't you add some more?
Okay, all right. And Dr. Jones, I'm not saying you're addicted to cigarettes or vodka, but if somebody was, doesn't it make sense to throw a carton into the earthquake kit?
Or just always have an extra carton so you keep them fresh.
It's like we're doing radio in the 1940s. I got an extra carton. Make sure you got the fresh cigarettes. Also, how long will the big one last?
A couple of minutes. So the earthquake begins in an epicenter, but it becomes a big earthquake by traveling down a long fault. And just like ripping a piece of paper, you don't rip it all at once. You start at one edge and tear across. And it releases energy all the time it's tearing across. And it moves up the fault at 2 miles a second. So if the fault is 200 miles long, which is what we modeled for 7.8 here in Southern California, that's 100 seconds.
And 100 seconds of radical shaking.
Not necessarily, right?
Okay.
Because if it's 200 miles long, even if you're right on top of the fault in the middle, some of it's coming at you from 100 miles away, and therefore not so extreme, right?
Wow.
But we did the modeling. You also can get reverb basically going on because the sediments bounce the waves back and forth. And so places where it's a deep bowl of sediment like downtown Los Angeles or Santa Monica, those areas we modeled about 50 seconds of really strong shaking.
Oh, my God. Okay, we'll move out of those areas. I was watching MSNBC today, and they blamed this earthquake off the coast of California this morning or earlier today on Donald Trump. Is there any connection to that?
The human need for patterns that make us feel safer or justified.
Okay. Doctor, I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy. This is this is the Super Bowl for you today, or at least the playoffs. And we really appreciate Okay, it's the playoffs. But really appreciate I can't tell you how much our audience loves when you come on after an earthquake. You soothe a lot of people, and again, you have no idea how many people are going to go to bed tonight after hearing your voice and sleep a little better.
Thanks for saying that.
It's a true story. Yes. Thank you. And and hopefully we're not going to have you on again for the next couple of years. You know what I mean?
I've got other things to do in life, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Dr.
Bye.
Lucy Jones, man, she's the best. Since, I don't know, maybe 1980 or so in high school, listening to her after every big quake, and she does help us survive. She just does. I don't know how she does it. The calmness of her voice, the facts. Maybe she'll tell us that, none of us know anybody who's ever been killed in a quake. Very few of us know anybody who's ever been hurt in a quake. Yet we have a paranoia about them that just doesn't quit. We are live. We'll come back and talk more about the United Healthcare and the CEO that was shot. We've got more information that's just come in, some clues on the suspect. You'll want to hear this when we come back. Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.